Without further ado, this is being recorded. Thank you, guys. Thank you, panel. We'll do a follow-up at the very end. JD, I'm going to turn it on over to you. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks, Gary. So real quick, I'm JD Folks. I'm on the product marketing team at Snap One. Today, we're going to go over kind of the next steps in creating outdoor solutions. So last week, we covered, I'd say, some of the basics. So getting audio outside, getting TV outside, getting a video picture to that TV, some best practices, and kind of 70-volt versus 8-ohm. And, really, and even trying to expand that outdoor experience to beyond, say, just the deck or just by the pool, right? You can add audio zones to the workshop, to the front porch, to the rear of the house, to the landscaping area around the pool, right? So you can expand that whole area that you're working on. The idea is to not just think of the house or the restaurant that you may be working on as the project space, but the entire property as your project space. Today, what we're going to do is talk about, taking that experience to the next level, and really, delighting your customer and surprising them with all the things you can do beyond just some of the AV experiences. So we'll talk about a little bit about surveillance, lighting, and then how do you integrate all those things for that wow factor. So real quickly, I'll let the panel introduce themselves, and I will go in the order that I see. Actually, I will call one person out first, since I rudely forgot her the first time. So Emily, please introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, JD. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, wherever you're at in the world. My name is Emily Carlicek. I am the product marketing manager for our audio category here at Snap, and I come from a background in marketing, business development, communications, and PR for one of our certified showrooms. So I'm really a fierce advocate for the partner and for your selling experience, your customer relationships, and so I'm trying to bring that element to this conversation. Thank you, JD.
Awesome. Derek Webb, familiar face.
Thanks, JD. Happy to be back on these in a little bit different capacity. I am the product manager for our video surveillance as a service solutions, as well as our intrusion products. So happy to be here and looking forward to chatting.
Awesome. Andy, who are you? Where are you from?
I don't know, and I'm from nowhere. No, just kidding. Yeah, I'm Andy Balassi. Many of you guys probably seen me on here with Gary in different webinars. I help manage all of our third-party relationships across our enterprise. So that whether that be on e-commerce or at our local partner stores. So happy to be with you as always, and thanks for taking time out to join us on this webinar.
Awesome. Marlon, a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, JD. Hey, everyone. My name is Marlon Lau, and I'm the product manager for the video surveillance products. I've joined Snap One for about 7 months now, so still pretty new, but I'm very happy to be here. And I'm in the surveillance industry for about 15 years now, so I'll be in the background answering questions. So very happy to be here. Thank
Awesome. You. Joe Moore, man about town.
Hey, yeah, I'm Joe Moore. I'm one of the sales engineers with Snap One. We're the team that gets out and helps our dealers deploy, design, and implement our systems. So, yeah, it's me.
Awesome. Jeff?
Joe undersells himself, doesn't he? He's awesome. And his brain is huge, full of a lot of great lighting stuff. I'm Jeff Thomas. I'm a product manager for lighting, and happy to be here and excited to talk about what you can do outside with lighting. We've got some great solutions.
Lucas.
Hi, everybody. Lucas Knighton. I'm a sales engineer in the southwestern part of the United States. I work with Joe. We do our design and technical training and presentations door to door.
Awesome. Mr. Whipple.
Unmute. So I'm Jacob Whipple. I have been with Control4 for 17 years. I was employee 220. I started out in our testing and validation department, playing with all the toys, moved to the Education Center in Charlotte, teaching the Control 4 class. And now I do product marketing for Control 4, writing the stories for all the toys that I love.
All right, Mr. Phillips.
Hey everyone, thanks for coming along. I'm Dave Phillips. I've been in the industry since the 90s now, so approximately 125 years. I've done pretty much anything from installing, selling, programming, worked in distribution channels, and for the last 11 and a half years, I've worked for Control 4 and Snap One, currently in a product marketing organization. So yeah, one quick plug for the Q&A feature of Zoom. So please ask us any questions you'd like. We'll either answer them live right there and then, or we'll save them up to the end and have a Q&A session. So thanks again for joining.
Awesome. Dan.
Hey, hello, everyone. Dan Wilkie here. I have been with Snap Control 4 for about 5 years. I am a part of the sales engineering group as well with Lucas and Joe, and I'm down here in Florida.
Awesome. All right, and we have a very special guest that I wanted to save the best for last. James Cervantes from FX Luminaire has been kind enough to join us and lend his expertise, and we really do appreciate his support. FX is an incredible partner of ours. So, James, quick intro.
Thanks, JD. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for having me. My name is James, and I'm the product manager for lighting controls over here at FX. So I'll be in the background. If you guys have any questions, put them in the chat box and we'll get them answered. So thanks again for having me.
Awesome. Yep, as Dave said, we'll cover a lot of specific topics, but the Q&A really helps drive the conversation. We try to hit the high notes, and then we will answer as many of your questions as we possibly can. If we can't give you an answer right away, we will follow up with you and make sure you get the answer that you need. So if it's a general question or a very specific installation question, that's what we're here for. So I encourage everyone to take advantage of the Q&A. So surveillance. When you start looking at a project, Derek, how do you kind of plan your camera coverage for a given project? Where do you start?
Yeah, thanks, JD. It's definitely a really good topic to begin with, because as the industry has grown and surveillance has become, more than what it was, not just 5 years ago. Obviously, some of you guys that have been doing this for a while have been doing, remember the early days. But as it's grown, kind of what we need to cover, what we need to capture has become more important, and how we do that is really important as well. Especially when we think about outdoor, these are expensive solutions. We want to make sure that not just the home is protected, but that all of our, experiences that our customers are paying for are protected as well. And then the last piece is that we are able to show that off. The beginning, you think about two pieces. Obviously, surveillance in and of itself is a security solution. It is meant to surveil the property, allow us to see what is happening. And so when you think about that from the very beginning, is we want to make sure that when we're looking at designing this solution, that we're not looking at points of entry as the only thing we're trying to capture. Because if we're looking at the point of entry, we have a camera pointed at a door, a camera pointed at a window. If somebody walks up to that door, that camera seeing them is almost too late. Because you think if it's pointing out the door, that means that if they're at the door, you're seeing the top of their head, the back of their head, and you may not be able to really capture what you need. So yeah, you got a peace of mind. You can see that they got there, but we want to be able to capture their face. We want to be able to capture them coming to that door, coming into that backyard, walking towards the pool, going over towards our really expensive outdoor TV, whatever it may be. We want to be able to capture their path into the danger zone, if you will. If we can continue to capture when they're at the door as well, but those pathways are really important. And so when you think about camera placement, less about what's coming in, more about how they're getting in. And so you're looking at how could they get into my property? What are the pathways down the side of my houses? Looking out at the driveway itself. So you want to be able to start to capture them as they're coming into the property. And when you think about design and placement and whatnot, and be okay that it might take more than one camera to capture the same area. If you think about a really wide open backyard, yeah, it's great to see the entire backyard. But if that back fence where people could hop is 100 yards away, that one camera may not do the job. You might need to have a camera that captures the wide angle of the entire backyard, and then have a secondary camera with a varifocal lens that you can zoom in further into that backyard, or maybe there's a shed out there in the backyard that you want to make sure you captured. So, be okay that it might take more than one camera to accomplish the same viewing area, if you will, because and the last piece is that same viewing area. You might want to have a camera that is for surveillance and a camera that is for entertainment. I'm serious. There are customers that like to show off what they have. They like to, use that as a way to gloat with their friends. In the days of tech support, I remember working with, not indoors, but customers that, had car garages. When I say car garages, not 4 or 5 cars, 20 cars in the basement under their house. They want to, capture everything going on. They want to see everything going on from a surveillance perspective. But they also want to be able to bring up those cameras when they're at an event and show people, yeah, look at my 15 Ferraris that I have. That's important. And same thing with your backyard. If you have, your customers want to show that. They want to be able to have the peace of mind that it's protected, but also have the experience so they can show it off, and they can use that as a prop elsewhere in their home on top of that.
Awesome. So that's great news during the daytime. What about at night? I've seen on our suppliers, so we have Luma and Claire, and I see things that say color at night, and I see Starlight, and I don't know the difference. What are the differences in kind of those nighttime technologies?
It's a great question. It's an age-old question when you think about it, right? Obviously, first and foremost, nighttime in and of itself requires a little bit extra from the camera. The ultimate thing, though, that will always improve nighttime performance, doesn't matter how good the camera is supplemental light. At the end of the day, if we're in a pitch black environment, we're trying that same example. You have a camera that's looking out across the backyard, and it's just wide open for 100 yards. At the end of the day, that's a really challenging environment to put a camera in if it is there's no supplemental light, if it's just dark outside. And so first and foremost, supplemental light is always going to help improve nighttime performance. And then once you move beyond that, you go into the kind of the 3 things that JD kind of mentioned. First and foremost, IR. IR has been around for years and years and years with cameras. It's depending on the camera, you got the red LED, the red IR bud that you'll see around the lens of the camera. Some of them don't illuminate red, but they still do the same thing. That is designed to use IR to illuminate an image in a way that only the camera's sensor, the IR cut filter, can pick up, and you get that black and white image. In a lot of scenarios, IR is just fine. It's perfectly okay in a lot of surveillance applications. But as we get into these scenarios where our customers are paying a premium for the solution, they expect more, and they expect to be able to have a little bit better recognition of what's going on at night, because there is a little bit of a quality. It's black and white. You can't see everything that's lost when you look at IR. And so then you move into those other 2 areas where you have Starlight and then color at night. People have different names that they kind of bring in between those 2. But as you think about Starlight, Starlight is what's kind of been around for a few years now, and it's allowing the cameras to function at a little bit lower light level, using some processing to help let that camera stay in daytime mode longer. It's not really doing anything from an IR perspective to brighten the image. It's just allowing the camera to maintain color a little bit longer. The more supplemental light you have, the better Starlight will function on your projects. And it allows just the camera to keep that color. And that color is helpful. That's what people want to see. And then you kind of grow into what we're seeing a lot more of today, and what you'll find on our latest releases with our partner Claire Vision, which is that color and night experience. And so Claire Vision is doing that with a new processor and their cameras. But most importantly, comes with these color at night solutions is kind of what I just mentioned in the very beginning, is the supplemental light. And so a lot of these newer cameras that you'll see out there, and it's not just Claire, right, that offer this color at night feature, is you will see not just IR buds that you'll see with the camera, but you'll see actual kind of light bars, almost looks like little light bulbs, spotlights on the camera itself that light up kind of like a spotlight. And they will offer a warm supplemental light to help brighten up an image. Because at the end of the day, if it is a completely pitch black image and there is no supplemental light and the camera can't provide any supplemental light, it's really hard for IR to function the way that it needs to. So that supplemental light that you'll see in these color at night cameras paired with a stronger sensor in the camera allows you to maintain not just a better color image as it gets darker in the overall scene, which is what Starlight can do, but it also gives a supplemental light to enhance that even more, to provide more crispness in that image itself. And that's what people will historically have said, yeah, well, Starlight's great, but maybe it's not as crisp as I want it to be. And that's where that color at night, the supplemental light, kind of takes you to the next level, if you will.
Got it. So it sounds like Claire has a pretty strong kind of nighttime solution in their lineup. So certainly something you might consider as you're choosing between Luma and Claire. What are some reasons why you might choose, say, Luma over Claire in certain scenarios?
Yeah, that's a great question, JD. And the thing to first understand is that they're both great solutions for kind of where they're positioned, kind of in the market and what you guys want to use them for. But the biggest thing that we've always talked about at Snap with a lot of our products is designing a solution for the integrator. And it's not that Claire's not, but we're looking at some of the extra things that come into play that you as the installers need to worry about, right? And the biggest one is integration. And integration, it's kind of two pieces. One is from an automation standpoint. You need to be able to have hardware that allows you as the installer to create these experiences that we're going to keep talking about during this webinar. The hardware has to allow you to do that. Yes, you can get Claire cameras into the automation ecosystem, and then they have some good features, right? But as you step up into Luma, one of the big words that everyone's familiar with is discrete, right? We start to bring in more discrete control, more direct automation over every piece of the surveillance platform, right? Going into the cameras and getting a high quality HD video stream from the camera is important. But then when you pair that with our Luma NVRs, discrete control over the 4K output of that NVR. So I can get my cameras in full resolution on any TV in the house if I wanted to. I could automate the alerts that come from my control system. If I would like to say at nighttime, I don't want to get blown up with alerts, or while I'm at home, working from home, a lot of people are today, they don't need to get the alerts on their phones. I could automate to turn that off. I could automate privacy mode, where when I am at home or when I'm out in the pool, I would like my cameras looking at the pool to actually turn off. And you can automate those types of experiences when you have the Luma hardware in place to help you do that. And so that's the immediate thing right away, is from a Luma perspective, is taking you down that deeper integration path on the automation side. And then the second side of that from integration is oversee. Surveillance in the cloud. That's where the industry, not just surveillance, is going. And when we talk about oversee, it's not an oversee training, but it's meant to support you as the installer. And when you're deploying thousands of IP cameras, not just thousands, a couple hundred, maintaining all of them when you have to visit the job site to maintain them, that's a lot of work. Oversee, sitting on top of all of these devices, makes that experience, that support from you as the installer side of things much easier. And most importantly, it saves you money so you can make more money.
Awesome. So, when you've gone through and we kind of look at Claire or Luma or, a different system that an integrator may choose, they've kind of chosen which system works best for them. They've looked at the property. They've kind of mapped out what they need. What are some of the things you need to keep in mind when kind of the rubber hits the road of like, now I've got to install these things. I actually have to make it go work. Like
Yeah.
what kind of wires are you going to need? Mounting options. What about dome versus bullet versus turret? What are those other things when you really get down to installing? What are the things you need to keep in mind and help you make the right decisions?
Yeah, great question, JD. The thing that I kind of start with is that even though the customer may not want surveillance today, if you can plan for it, if you can prepare yourself at the bare minimum for a basic solution, put that into the pre-wire, right? Nobody likes running Cat 5, Cat 6 all the way through the attic out to the corner where the eave is once all the insulation is there, right? If we're building a home, go ahead and assume it might be there. Let's pre-wire for a bare minimum. We're gonna have a camera on every corner of the house. That's where you're usually going to start. And so if you can prepare in the pre-wire, that's a big thing. But also understanding, cabling requirements. Cat 5e is fine for most cameras today, but as you go up and as cameras start to increase in quality and what they need to do, Cat 5e may not be enough, right? And so 6A, Cat 6A is a great stopgap to start to improve upon that, but also understand some of the opportunities you have with some other partner of ours. Clearline just released or is releasing a new fiber converter that adds PoE into it as well. And so literally it's two little pieces that you can put on either end that connects via fiber. And at the head end, right where the camera is going to be, it can also bring PoE out of that to power a camera. And you guys know fiber, 1,000 yards away if you really wanted to at the end of the day. So understanding those, and then as you move into the types of cameras you have options for, JD kind of mentioned dome, bullet, turret. It is important to understand the distinction, especially when we're talking about outdoors. The big trend over the last few years, and you'll hear it from our support teams and probably the sales engineer team as well, is dome cameras are great in their environment where they're supposed to be, right? So you want to be careful that you're not putting your dome cameras in unprotected. When I say unprotected from the elements. The elements can impact how a dome camera functions over time. It may not be that way right away, and it's probably only going to show itself rear its ugly head at night when you have some of those reflections that some of you guys have been used to seeing. We're always looking to improve that experience, but at the end of the day, a lot of times it's not even your fault. There was a house cleaner that came out and sprayed it with the pressure washer, and all the soap dried on it. It's out near the coast, and all the ocean spray from the coast is sprayed onto the dome over time, and the salt has built up on it. At the end of the day, put your dome cameras in more protected environments, right? If they're outdoors, make sure they're on that covered patio, right? Somewhere where they're out in the gazebo, things like that. Up on the eave of the house, out in the open on the side of the house, use your turrets and your bullets for those experiences. If you need the form factor of a dome, a turret is a great kind of middle ground. You get the functionality of a bullet, the size and form factor of a dome, kind of all in one house. And then when you need more of the direct positioning of the camera, the bullet is a great solution to kind of take you down that path. And so just really understanding where that is and kind of how that should be used. When you think about those, as you go kind of taking that next step beyond that, is also remember that as cameras have improved, we don't have to get as close to the viewing area as we used to in the old days. And I say old days, right? The analog days where we had to put a camera really close because the image quality didn't allow us to do that. And so you can start to think about, especially if you're putting in 8 megapixel varifocal lens cameras, you can mount that camera further away, use the varifocal lens to zoom into the area. And then digital zoom is a real thing nowadays. It didn't used to be, because when you digitally zoom in on a low quality image, well, you're just enhancing the low quality even more. But today with higher quality cameras, we can do that. And so don't be afraid to mount a little bit further back, zoom in on the location, and then anything more you can use a little bit of digital zoom to help as well.
Great insight. So we talked about nighttime. Now, what about during the day, right? The sun starts one place and ends up in another. What do you need to think about as you're back to camera placement, and you're doing it at noon, but
yeah,
it's going to be a lot different 5 hours from then? How do you think about that and plan for it?
Yeah, as you're going through, and this is, kind of goes back to the beginning of planning camera coverage as well. But maybe you didn't get there. You didn't get a chance to see that right away. But the biggest thing that I recommend is when you're mounting these cameras, if you can make a few trips at different times throughout the day to understand where it's going to be, right? Like you said, noon, the way you install that camera is different than what it's going to look like at 5 o'clock. And so, make it so that you understand what the entire day is going to look like. And because if that sun comes in there and you've already got it mounted, you've got all of your silicone around the edge of it to seal it up, and then you hit 5 o'clock and you've got the worst sun glare in the world, there's very little you can do other than moving the camera somewhere else or repositioning what it's looking at. And so you want to make sure that you take the time to understand what it might look like at those different times throughout the day, so that you can make an informed decision when you're kind of mounting it, or at the very least, you can make an informed decision on what it's pointing at, where that camera is looking.
Awesome. So you talked about, right, it's best at night if you have some ambient light to kind of help light things up. It's going to make the picture much better. Andy, lighting outdoors, right? You can go to Home Depot and go grab whatever you want and throw it out there and it will turn on and light something. What makes, say, FX Luminaire, a system like FX, so much better and something that should be invested in versus typical landscape lighting?
Yeah, thanks, JD. I think it's going on what we were just talking about is outdoor surveillance, right? It's the same comparison as if you go to your Costco and buy the whatever brand they have, Lorax or whatever it is, and Luma or Clear, right? Same thing here. You could go to your Home Depot or your Lowe's or go online and find some sort of landscape lighting kit. It's just not built the same. It doesn't have the same functionality. It doesn't integrate. And those are really the three biggest and key differences. And so with FX, number one, the build quality is second to none. This is what they do. This is all they do. So they live and breathe landscape lighting. Incredible company, incredible product. Well built. I live with it, and have put us through its paces myself, and very impressed. So you can see that from the materials used. I mean, all the way down the road. So there's that. That's a big one. Capabilities, same thing here, right? You buy something store bought, you'll get LED, kind of typical white LED lighting across your entire yard. So you can do that with FX as well, but you have a full range. You have the range. You have from the basic LED, because kind of your simple white LED lighting for the outdoors, all the way up to zoning and dimming and control of the color. And I'll get to that in a second. In between there, you also have 3 LED, which is you take the fixture and you have a little disc. You have an amber disc, a green disc, and a blue disc, and you put that on the LED, and then you get that that type of color from the fixture. And then, as I mentioned, you have the kind of the premium fixtures, the top of the line, which you can create all these different zones. You have the dimming capabilities, so you can adjust the intensity everywhere, and then you have, in addition to that, the color. So full RGB, you can pick whatever color you want. So it's really great. And we're in the custom integration industry, right? Our partners design and install unique solutions for end consumers. And that's where FX comes in. It's just, it provides you such versatility and flexibility to provide just a complete experience for the outdoor. So just a quick example would be, your customer is a huge, I don't know, pick a sports team, right? Huge Yankees fan. So you want to do blue and white, or you want to light up your house for the 4th of July in red, white, and blue. Or it's breast cancer awareness and you want to light up the whole house in pink. You can do that. You just the options are limitless. And then obviously the last piece is control and integration, right? So we've got an incredible, FX has an incredible product that not only integrates into Control4, and Jeff Thomas will talk a little bit about that and some of the updates that we've got there, some incredible integration with FX as a partner. But they also do work with other control and automation platforms. So for this industry, it's made for this industry, and just a really huge opportunity for all of our partners to just make a lot more money and just add another kind of cool piece to their toolkit of products and services they can offer the end consumer.
Yeah. Hey, James, I think you need to send $20 over to, is that Jeremy or Jerome Davis? He says FX Luminaire is the best on the market, and he's been using it for 6 years. So nice little shout out there. Hey, Andy, on say snapav.com, is that the entire FX lineup?
Look at you teeing me up with like a big, I see the big softball just floating to me. Knock it out of the park. Thank you. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. So yeah, it's just something that we're, as we're assorting brands across both our storefronts, the locals across the US and e-commerce, we can't assort everything. We can't inventory everything, especially when we have such an incredible partner like FX that has thousands and thousands of SKUs and options for you. So on the website, we have kind of the really high running volume type SKUs that are available for purchase. And you'll see an important note on each product page, and that'll take you to a link that lists out all of our local branches and their locations and their phone numbers if you don't know them or you don't know your local branch. And they can order anything from the FX catalog, any product. So if you have a customer that's got a pool or a water feature or something, they've got underwater lights. So anything you can think of for outdoor fixtures and lighting and design, their website is great. They've got an incredible product lineup, and we can source the product for you guys.
Awesome. Yeah. And I think maybe if you talk about it as landscape lighting, you're probably underselling it with all of the different options they have. So that's a good point. Yeah. Another softball over here. Eric Hill in the chat, any plan on tunable color lighting for landscape? Hey, Jeff, tell us what's going on. What's the latest in control for lighting?
Yeah, you bet. We've got our OS 3.3 coming out shortly. We recently announced this, and this release includes native color lighting control. And we're pretty excited about it. We're adding, you've got a color wheel, you've got color presets now on mobile apps and on touchscreen interfaces. So it makes it really nice for all color lighting control and tunable white lighting control. And when you add the integration of the FX Luminaire product, now you have that same interface for all of your outdoor lighting. Andy brought up a couple of examples where you might have holiday lighting outside or whatever you choose to do. Your customers can configure that. It's really easy. It's all native to the Control4 app, and it'll all be a very familiar and comfortable experience. For Control4 dealers that are integrating the FX Luminaire products also, I know I did see the question. I said, just wait, integration is even getting better. This release will also include some updated drivers for the FX Luminaire system that give you this native control and also simplify the configuration experience. In other words, basically add the controller, get it connected to your network, you add the lights to the controller, and then you can flip over to Composer and hit a couple of buttons, and all the lights get automatically added and named. They pull in the names that they're named, and now you can do all of your scheduling and scene editing and everything in there, as well as the manual control. And so the experience is really nice and streamlined and familiar for Control4 dealers when they integrate FX Luminaire. It'll be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. So again, just want to encourage everyone to get into the Q&A. We have some more coming in here. So the next thing I wanted to kind of talk about is we've talked about surveillance kind of on its own, and we've talked about lighting kind of in a vacuum. Is getting into the integration. So the integration, I think, is where it changes from doing what your customer asks you to do to really wowing them and kind of taking it to the next level. So somehow I want to ask to Jacob, what are your few favorite drivers or events that you like to set up on a system?
I like to start out simple. A lot of people already have a backyard. They already have some sort of setup, whether it's just chairs and a Bluetooth speaker, or if they have their lighting and their TV. It's easy to add to what they already have to show them the benefits. And then from there, take it further and start adding full automation. So I like starting out with just plugs. We have outdoor rated outlet switches that you could plug in any powered device, and that gives you control to turn it on and turn it off as needed. And if you have a covered space like the grill, where you've got some inset outlets, some receptacles, you can replace those with our Control 4 receptacle outlet switches. Also gives you control over those. For example, if it's a vacation home, that outdoor fridge, you probably don't want running when no one's there for months on end. Plug that into one of these outlet switches. You'll be able to program that based off of the security system being armed and disarmed. From there, you can add easily based on weather. There are a couple of different weather drivers, and there is a weather agent. It's the first third-party agent, and someone gave me the notes from the last meeting. Let me scroll back up real quick and see if I can find it. But with that agent or those drivers, you can program based on today's weather. For example, it'll be sunny is a 0-1 and partly cloudy is a 0-2. It has hurricanes and tornadoes. It has cold weather and warm weather. You can program your thermostats based on the current temperature, the opening and closing of your blinds and shades based on whether it's going to be partly cloudy or mostly cloudy or fully sunny. From there, expanding control to your backyard. They saw the outlets, that's kind of cool, but what else can you do? With the Z2IO, small little black box, not that expensive, adds IR control, contacts and relays, and Zigbee control. So if in that backyard space, the pool area, you have Zigbee controlled lights, or they take the remote control out to the pool with them, that'll give you control of those Zigbee devices. The relays could be used to trigger pumps and motors. So if you don't have a full pool control system, you can do some of that manually for the heater and the pumps. With the contacts, you can sense the state of the gates, doors, garage doors, motion sensors. And that way, if the neighbor kids break into your pool while you're on vacation, you can get notifications that those sensors tripped and do something about it. And then with the IR control is generally for AV devices. Last week, we talked about the media cabinet inside the Sunbright TVs. If you're installing a Roku and Apple TV back inside there where it's outdoor proof, you can put a Z2IO in there as well, which will give you IR control for those AV devices. Surveillance, we've talked about today. We can add to the advanced functionality. Customers want more than just seeing what's going on. They also want notifications. And we can expound upon that with trip lines or with motion zones. You could motion zone the pool. And that way, if the neighbor kids start going into the pool, it can send a specific targeted message. If there's a motion zone after sunset, it could turn on the outside lights and the pool lights. Or if you're in away mode and that gate opens with a trip line, it can send you an intruder notification and turn on the lights and the sirens and scare them away.
Or the
pool control. Pool controllers themselves can add a lot of functionality. If you fully integrate a Jandy, Pentair, Hayward, or a Flu-Rida, I think I said that right this time. Pool controller, they could automate your pool skimmers and cleaners so that they clean in the middle of the night when no one's in the pool. They could base the heaters based on time of day, day of the week, based on the seasons or the months. I want the pool heated on the weekends, not during the week, and from November through February, not in the middle of the summer. You could automate the LED lights based on time of day and only turn them on if the pool cover is closed. Automate the water features and jets based on motion. They'll turn on when you walk over there. Automate the transfer of media. You walk out to the pool area, you open the pool cover, we'll figure out what you're playing inside, transfer that so you're listening to it outside as well. Or just have a single button that automates everything. You press it once to turn on pool party, and it does the pool cover, the lights, the water features, it does the media, same button, press it again, we'll turn everything back off, lock it up and secure it. And last thing I like to do is the door locks, which are outside, but can be used to do the inside. When you arm your security system, you get home, beep, 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 and you have to disarm it with your code. You could do that with the code on your door lock. And because everyone in the family has their own code, I can automate different things. When I get home, it does this music and it turns on those lights. When the kids get home, lets me know they got home from school safely, tells them to do their homework, turns on those lights. So you can automate your system based on who gets home, based on that door lock.
That's awesome. So speaking of kind of coming in and the entryway, hey, Derek, when do you choose a surveillance camera versus, say, a premium doorbell camera?
Yeah, that's a great question, JD. And I think that, the first thing is back to basics is both of those are purpose-built solutions, right? The ultimate goal of a doorbell camera, whether it be our Chime video doorbell or it's a Ring or a Nest or whatever it may be, right, is to be just that, a video doorbell. It is to allow you to get that button press that will then ring a call to your phone, your touch screen, whatever it may be, so that you can communicate an action based off of that happening, right, is for that purpose. And so they're designed to make sure that they can capture everything that comes up to that front door, very wide angle, 180-degree field of view. And so they're really good, 10, 15 feet out, maybe 20 feet out from that door, left, right, 180 degrees. But as you start to, most of these front yards aren't, 10, 15, 20 feet, out, and then it stops, right? You've got quite a large area there. That's just not really a camera on that device to get further. It can do more. We can automate those to do more from a Chime video doorbell perspective, but that's not really the intention from a large scale surveillance solution. And so that's when you will want to make sure that you have that camera that might be covering the same area. I use my house as an example. As I have my Chime doorbell that's looking out across the front yard of my house. Obviously, I get the calls across the board when someone comes through. I have motion events set up on there as well that trigger from the video doorbell. But at the end of the day, it's meant for when someone comes up and gets on my front steps, walks up to my front door. I have a secondary camera that is looking out across the front yard. I also have a secondary camera that's looking out across the driveway. And I let the automation in my system build upon those examples that I have, right? I get an alert from my Control4 system when someone crosses a line in my driveway. And so I know when someone's coming to my front door before they even press the doorbell button. So I'm taking advantage of kind of the best of both worlds, but just be careful that the doorbell camera is great for its intended solution, but let it do its intended solution first. Add in extra cameras to increase that experience and give the client that better peace of mind that you can kind of bring into the fold.
So it sounds like don't try to make the video doorbell be more than it is as a camera, but take advantage of what it can do as a camera And of course, the two-way communication being the killer feature of
It has a lot of really cool
Chime
features that you can
or-
add on.
Yeah, or any of the 3P solutions we sell as well. Great add-ons to any system. All right, any other Q&A out there that people have, any burning questions? Happy to help anyone out on additional questions. All right. Hey, Gary, we briefly covered FX Luminaire. I mean, compared to the number of SKUs, the amount of integration you can do, the control you can do, the lighting possibilities that you can do. Where can someone get some really good hands-on training for that? Is that a big enough softball for you there?
It's a great question. I'm really excited to be working with FX Luminaire. And remember, we kind of debuted the line, if you will, a couple months back here on this program on our weekly webinar series. So I feel that not only have we been launching this from its inception, but kind of bringing our partners through the experience as well and being able to help them from our Snap One local counter perspective. But now, yes, JD, I'm taking it on the road. I got 28 stops to make. I'm taking the shovels. I'm taking everything. We're talking outdoor. We're starting in May, most of May, guys. So you're getting the emails. I already have 150 people signed up for our event. Let me just tell you really quickly what we got structured out. It's going to consist of a day at local at the branches, at 28 branches. There's going to be 2 trainings that we're doing. One, the very AM training will be an FX Luminaire training. I worked directly with FX on kind of discussing automation, discussing the bid process, discussing the automation part of FX and how it will integrate with our own products. So that morning discussion, when we're talking about lighting, James, and you could chime in at any time, but I really feel it's going to be a competent 2-hour training to really let you get your hands involved and let us see some examples. So Hunter Industries, FX Luminaire is sending around all of their reps to these 28 locations to do a live training. And as far as demonstration, we'll see exactly what we can put together, but there will be a hands-on element as well. So guys, this is going to be your opportunity. Sign up, register now, get your teams involved in this. It's going to be a great event. We're going to serve you lunch. We're going to do it barbecue style. Remember, it's mostly through May, so we'll kind of be running through that Memorial Day timeframe. So we will definitely feed you a nice lunch at that. And then we're going to come back after lunch and we've got Joe Moore's team. Thank you so much, Joe. You're so wonderful to help me, take the entire concept and apply it to our 1P, what we like to call our 1P, our Snap product as well. So you're going to get a full demonstration and training from the Snap One perspective on this gear, on our gear. On that day as well. So look at it this way, walk in with lighting and really understand what components are going to be able to complete that solution. But I say this, bring your plans, let's sidebar, let's take a look at what you've got going. Doesn't matter how big or small it is, guys. This is all designed for you to get acquainted with not only with the product, but with the Snap One local staff and bring them into it, because that's really where our expertise lies when we're talking about ordering product and allowing you to hit your due date. Why? For you to get a paycheck and for you to expand on this category. So looking forward to it, guys. Starting May 4th, Beaverton, Oregon, hitting to Dallas and Troy and Scottsdale on May 13th. Salt Lake City, I'm going to see a bunch of you on June 3rd. We're going to wind this whole thing down on June 10th in Houston, Texas. So JD, yes, a lot of road travel. I cannot wait to bring this into the fold here. We expect the same results too. I want to see this category grow. We've got so much brain power behind our products. And I think it's a perfect time for us really to identify our partners' needs in the outdoor category. So that's the work that I want to try to accomplish with our partners. Guys, I'll turn it back over to you.
Awesome. So I would encourage everyone to try to attend if, obviously if you can, and if your schedule allows and you're convenient to one of these locations to attend one of those. There'll be great training. You'll get to meet some of the people behind the products in person. I would say stay tuned for some information that will be in those trainings about Sunbright. So just a little tease and encouragement for you to go there. So keep your eyes and ears open for that. All right, let's see. Is there a site list where the training that Gary is speaking of? Gary's going to send out a summary of kind of everything we kind of talked about with the links that you need for these trainings so that you can see where they are and help get you signed up. It'll also include a recording of this. So if you had to step away or you missed anything you want to go back on or listen to some of the great ideas that Jacob had, you'll be able to do that.
Yeah, Jerome, we've been sending out the emails directly to you. So just check that on any of the MRI, Custom Plus, AllNet, and Volutone sites. We've got the event pages up and running. Just dive into Eventbrite and pick the date that you want to attend, and we will see you there, buddy.
Awesome. All right. Any other questions that we can answer? Specific questions you may be running into on a job site. We have the sales engineers here who might be able to give you a quick answer or lead you to the right solution. We're happy to answer any questions that you've got. Got about 5 more minutes here before we sign off. I want to make sure that everyone gets all their questions answered and take advantage of the brain power on the call.
Hey, I can interject really quick. Hey, if I can call on Joe,
Sure.
Joe Moore. You know, I just mentioned your work with the completing the curriculum, if you will, on the Snap One product. How did you kind of approach knowing what we wanted to present at Snap One Local, you know, with regards to FX Luminaire and what you were kind of cooking up on your own with regards to the training and putting together a 2-hour, and yeah, Lucas, you were part of this as well. Give us a little insight on what you kind of created for us.
Yeah, so we're already working on something from our side of things that we're going around all the outdoor living space options, obviously with FX Luminaire, with our multiple different options for outdoor audio with Triad and Episode, and then obviously incorporating our SunBright TVs and any type of other control options you have out there. We're already working up a training for that, and as me and Gary we're talking, like, this would be perfect to add in with the FX training we're rolling out. So we're going to get very particular about how you can design, build outdoor living spaces and how that can affect your business and definitely give a nice boom to your guys' business sales. Lucas might have a little more to add, it looks like.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, excuse me, a lot of the information that we're going to bring in our door-to-door presentations comes from Hunter's website. I'd never actually physically installed FX Luminaire hardware before. I've integrated it with dealers and things, but never actually put it in the ground. Their training is great. It really gets granular in terms of, you know, types of fixtures they have, color, beam, angle, color, temperature, all that stuff. And also they have a design service on their website as well that can help out. So all that is terrific information. We have slides that we'll present that gives a little more detail to that. But if you're looking to get ahead of us a little bit, check out the FX Luminaire website for a lot of good information.
That's good. That it's interesting that you trust them that much, you know, and you trusted kind of how they laid things out. I mean, come on, Hunter Industries has been around forever, and that whole landscape language, you know, they're very familiar with. So I love that. We just kind of borrow certain topics out of there and then, you know, apply it to our hardware, if you will. So I love that confidence, because that's kind of how we approached it too. You know, not all of our partners on this call is going to approach this from a lighting perspective, right? It could be, Emily, you kind of talked about it, getting let in from an audio perspective. However this happens, but we do feel that the marriage is absolutely a complete package. And I'm going to be looking forward to seeing, especially from our partners who want to introduce this category into their lineup, right? You know, I think everybody has an affinity or confidence in audio and not so much with lighting. So I think that that's kind of our path, whether or not you take advantage of it or not. And also, you know, as Andy had mentioned, how robust these fixtures are. I mean, they are truly awesome. So good marriage here. And maybe with the last couple minutes, as we have been doing, Emily, love your eloquent statements on your approach to, you know, why our partner, our company, their companies want to introduce this, not just from a margin standpoint. We know that these category expansions, if will, it takes a bit of investment for our partners, in terms of their own techs and really kind of, again, having that confidence to introduce this to their end users. But love to hear your take a little bit.
Gary, sorry if you don't mind jumping in for a second, because there's a question on FX, and I just figured this, since we're on the topic, before you turn it over to Emily. So number one, Lucas is 100% right. I mean, the assets available are incredible from FX. If I can figure out how to install it, I think anybody can. There's nothing special about me. It is, don't let the word lighting keep you from this category that can make you, that can open up all sorts of opportunities for you. It is nothing like indoor lighting, like putting in, C4 lighting or Lutron or anything like that. It's 12 volt. It's incredibly simple to install. So don't let that be a barrier to enter this product category. And then directly to the question I think Michael had is supply chain issues. This came up in the last webinar as well. Yes, FX, like every company, has been hit by supply chain issues and concerns. We actually did a webinar series, I think October last year, a webinar that you could look up, and we were it was just about supply chain. FX team is busting their humps, trying to get product in. Really, the biggest concern are the transformers, right? Which is kind of the core product, right? That makes the magic work. So they are working on it. Hopefully throughout the year, there'll be some levity to the situation. Don't have anything more concrete than that, but they are aware, they are working on it, and they're trying to get that solved because they know the impact that it's having on everybody.
Well, thanks for that, Andy. So yeah, to Gary's kind of question or pros to me, audio really is the gateway to the outdoors. So for most of your customers, they can imagine their favorite outdoor activities being made better by music or by whatever they enjoy listening to. And so once they're imagining a possibility, you have an opportunity to work with them to imagine all the possibilities that make sense for them. And that makes you a higher value trusted partner. And it also gives you the opportunity to grow those projects. So outdoor audio is a great gateway into all the great things that you can do in the outdoors. As we've heard from Andy just now, audio or lighting isn't as big and scary as it may sound in the outdoor space. So it's really a question of value proposition and delivering on experiences. And that's really what we're trying to do. So with everything that we do in the industry, you're selling experiences. You want to get your customer to describe to you kind of that perfect vision in their head of, I just really picture myself enjoying the backyard, cooking out with my kids in the summertime, having a little fun, spraying the hose around, that kind of thing. Or, we've got a lot of family get-togethers we'd like to do. And, because of COVID, we're not booking, halls and restaurants and stuff. So we'd really like to make our backyard the landing place for some of those special events. So whatever that version of their reality is, they're really giving you, as we've said a few times in here, a softball and teeing that up for you to just really knock it out of the park and deliver on that experience. So latest and greatest possibilities are one conversation with you away. They don't know what they don't know. And so you being that high value trusted partner to them and us being that high value trusted partner to you just makes everybody happy and brings that magic to life. So yeah, we're here for you.
All right, guys. Thank you, Emily, and my panel. I cannot thank you guys enough for helping establish this conversation. JD, I think I probably will include a little bit of your outline in a sense from, kind of how we laid this out. And there's some topics that will definitely help our partners re-engage, go to links, et cetera. So that will have a secondary use. From all of us at Snap One Local, I cannot thank you guys enough for joining us each and every week. This was definitely an endeavor, and I thank you guys for such a pro team that we've got. If this is any indication of the kind of conversations you can have and diving in deeper, I hope it does present that, because that's really what our objective is. We're here for you, and as even Dan, as being an integrator himself, and many of us coming from that part of this, we understand what you're up against, and we're here to help you succeed in that. So from all of us at Snap One Local, man, we're going to be expanding this this year. We're really excited, but most importantly, it's that one-on-one relationship, and that's kind of why we put these on each and every Wednesday. Guys, join me next week. Little plug there, Audio Quest, and then we'll get into the April 20th. Will be with Pete and Eero is on my show. So, guys, thank you again so much. Friday morning for all of the partners. In your inbox, a complete breakdown on this with invitations to that big tour that will be starting in May. JD, Emily, Marlon, and Andy, and Derek, and everybody I see here, Jacob, Lucas, Joe, Dan, David. David, thank you so much, buddy. From all of us at Snap One Local, we are your partners forever, and we just cannot thank you guys enough. We know you're busy out there. Stay safe. Let's check questions really quick before I sign off. Are we up to date? Kyle saying thank you. Can we set up how to, the John Phillips question there? Maybe we'll take that one offline. I think we can get everybody to kind of get up and go. Well, guys, see you guys next week. Panel, thank you guys so much from all of us at Snap One Local. That's MRI, Custom Plus, AllNet, and Volutone.